this maybe a bit for you, Lindsay. We're reopening our campus in September to all of our students. So any students that are currently taking their programs online, they will be transitioning to on campus. We're really looking forward to having the buzz and the feel of having students on campus and the laughter and just people around. You know, our admissions team has been here on campus since the beginning, you know, with plexiglass and masks and so on. So we've been nice and safe, but it's not been the same without students. So we're really looking forward to that. Oops, pardon me. So let me just start a little bit by telling you about Canadian Tourism College. We were, our parent company, ILAC, they purchased us last year in January, but CTC itself has been around for over 40 years, 42 years, in fact, no, 41 years. So we've been here in the Lower Mainland as part of the tourism community for that long. We are located in downtown Vancouver, very close to the convention center and a whole lot of hotels and tourist attractions down here, which is great. We are a very specialized college in the sense that we only have programs that are associated with hospitality, travel and tourism, and flight attendant. We have diploma programs and we have certificate programs. The other great thing about our college is that we have multiple intakes throughout the year. Most colleges have intakes in September, and then in January. We have intakes typically 4 times a year in September, January, April, and July. What that means essentially is that you can start your program sooner. So if you decide, you know, in February, I want to start a new program, you don't have to wait till September. You could start in April, you could start in July. The other is that we offer co-op programs, and that simply means that students are able to have the second part of their program be a work experience where we find students a job in the industry so that they can gain some experience, make connections, network in the industry. We also have partnerships, pardon me, with 3 main colleges and universities where students are able to convert their diploma program into a degree. I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on, but the partnerships are with Vancouver Community College, which is also downtown here in Vancouver, Royal Roads University, which is in Victoria on Vancouver Island, and then Capilano University, which is in North Vancouver, just across the water here. Our graduates really have gone on to a multitude of jobs within the travel and tourism industry, be it working as a flight attendant, working front desk at a hotel, working at a convention center, doing event planning, working as a travel agent, a tour guide, you name it, they've all done it. So I'll tell you a little bit about our programs, and I noticed there's a question in the Q&A. I'm going to answer those questions at the end, so if you can type them in, but I'm going to wait till the end to answer them all. So here we go, our programs. We have 5 programs. We have a travel and tourism business management diploma. It's a 47-week program that can be converted into a 98-week program by adding a co-op work experience. We have a tourism certificate program, which is a shorter program, which is actually part of the diploma program. It is 12 weeks in length or 24 weeks if you add the co-op. We also have another diploma program, a hospitality and resort business management program. It is a 47-week program or a 94-week program if you include co-op. We have a hospitality certificate program, which is 13 weeks or 26 weeks if you add co-op. And that program, again, is one part of the bigger diploma program. I'll go into more detail shortly. And then last, but certainly not least, is our flight attendant program. It's one of our popular programs. It's a 12-week program. Again, all of these programs are offered typically 4 times a year. The certificate programs are usually offered 3 times a year, but all of the others 4 times a year. So we'll start with the flight attendant program. The flight attendant program, as I mentioned, is a 12-week pre-employment program. So what that means is that it doesn't replace the training that someone has to do with an airline. What it does is it gives that training in advance. Most students most people who are interested in becoming flight attendants understand that working as a flight attendant it's not a job, as the slide said, it's a lifestyle. Flight attendants do not work a regular 9-to-5 job. They work weekends, they work holidays, but they work fewer days per month, typically 12 to 15 days per month. So it's a completely different experience. It's not an easy job. I think that a lot of people think that flight attendants serve coffee and tea and say, welcome aboard, and that's about it. There are many responsibilities behind the scenes that flight attendants are responsible for. So it's a tough job. You're on your feet a lot. You're away from your family. But the other flip side of it is that you're traveling. You have the experience of seeing all kinds of places, whether it's flying domestically within Canada here, or for international students who are taking the program, if they're going back to their home country and flying there, or if you're a flight attendant anywhere in the world flying internationally, then of course you're experiencing different countries, different cultures, languages, foods, you name it. The flight attendant program, as I mentioned, it's a 3-month program. It's all of our programs, not just the flight attendant program, are full-time programs, meaning students are completing 20 hours a week of instruction. The slide here shows you all of the different courses that are part of the flight attendant program. It's probably easiest if I summarize them into 2 parts. One part is the technical side of becoming a flight attendant. So students are learning about emergency procedures, safety procedures, in-flight services. They're learning announcements. Part of the training also includes earning certificates, which are fantastic to add to your resume. These certificates include first aid, assisting travelers with disabilities, food safe, serving it right. And what they provide, again, is an applicant to an airline is sort of an elevated position compared to other applicants. Airlines recognize our diploma. They know that someone who has graduated with our flight attendant diploma is far more likely to pass their training than a person without. Now, the other part of the program has more to do with personal development and career development. So students are taking, for example, a leadership course, a team building course. They're also learning how to create a proper resume and cover letter for the industry. Our instructors are all former flight attendants themselves, so they know what it takes to be successful in applying to the airlines. So they really help coach and guide and mentor their students so that they can present really their best selves to the airline. And that means having a top-notch resume and cover letter, of course, but also understanding what the application process is with the airlines, including what types of interview questions would be asked. So it's a very detailed and comprehensive program that is guided by our fantastic instructors who can also give their own experiences working in the aviation industry, give first-hand experiences and first-hand scenarios to students so that they can best take advantage of the knowledge that these instructors have. So as I mentioned, it's a 3-month program. We offer it 4 times a year in January, April, July, and September. Our next intake is September 27th. It will be in person. The end date is December 17th. So if that's a program that you're interested in, certainly you can ask other questions, or I'm happy to help you get registered if that's something that you would like. So let's move on to our next program, the Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma. It's essentially a 1-year program. It can be done as a one-year program or a two-year program. I mentioned that in my introduction. If it's a two-year program, simply put, students are doing 1 year of schooling and then they're adding 1 year of paid work experience. So we work with an organization that helps us place our students in a position within the tourism industry. The idea of that is sort of twofold. One is in particular, students who don't have any experience, it's great for them to be given the opportunity to work in the industry, to network, to make connections, and potentially move into either another position with that particular company or move on to other companies. But essentially, the Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma is meant to give a really broad series of skills and tools that students can use to work in a variety of positions within the travel and tourism industry. So if you're looking here at the courses that are part of the program, what's important to note are a couple of things. One is there's a focus on the aviation industry. So students are learning about the airline industry as a whole. They're learning the two ticketing systems, Sabre and Amadeus, that are used in the industry. They're learning about international fare structures and so on. Also, students are learning about marine transportation, so ferries, yachts. What is meant to happen is for each sector within the travel and tourism industry to be covered. So of course, there's also ground transportation, car rentals, railways. Marine transportation, I forgot to mention cruise ships, of course. And then, of course, there are courses interspersed there that have to do with tours, tour guiding, group design, group travel design, lifestyle tourism, such as niche destination, econo green kind of holidays that some people like to take, or destination weddings or destination holidays, stagettes, that kind of thing. So it's as I say, it's a very broad program that allows people to work in different parts of the travel and tourism industry. You'll notice even in the title of the program, the business management component. The business management component is meant to teach some very practical skills that students are then able to use to become promoted within the company in which they work. So students are learning small business fundamentals, they're learning business communication, they're also learning some very basic academic skills for business, and they're important to really marry or to connect with the travel and tourism skills that they're learning, as I say, so that students can then potentially start their own business down the road. They might start at an entry-level position in a company that they have a job with upon graduation, but then they're promotable. They can become supervisors and managers because they have those business management skills and courses under their belts. The Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma, the one-year program, has at the end of it a 1-month practicum. So this is an unpaid position where, again, we find students work in the industry where they get a really small taste. You're only working for a month, but it's an opportunity, again, to have a little taste of what it's like. And then upon graduation, students are then applying for jobs and starting to work. The nice thing about starting one of these programs now is that, yes, things are starting to open up, but by the time a student completes their program, let's say they start in September of 2021 and they finish in September of 2022 or September of 2023, if they decided to take the co-op, they're well into the time period where everything is opened. And there are predictions from tourism experts that there are not going to be enough people that are properly trained to take on the volume of tourists that we're expecting, certainly here in Canada. I suspect that's probably the case all over the world. So we're really encouraging students to register and enroll in this type of a program so that we can fill that void that has been created because of COVID. We want students to have as many opportunities as possible, and we feel like now's the time. Now, the co-op portion of the program. As I mentioned, the Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma can be done as a co-op, which means you do 1 year of schooling. Instead of that practicum at the end of the 1 year, though, you do a 1 year paid work experience. So we work with a company. Their role essentially is to find jobs for our students. Now, they don't give students a job. What they do is they have contacts within within companies that are part of the tourism industry. And what they do is they arrange interviews for our students. Typically, they will schedule 2 interviews, sometimes 3, and then it's up to the student to get that position. So it can be competitive. There could be multiple students vying for one particular position. But what they do is they meet with the students prior to the start of the program, or sorry, prior to the start of the co-op, generally 3 months prior, and they sit down and say, okay, is there a particular area you're interested in? Are you wanting, this sector of the industry, or are you open to anything? And then based on that, they try to set up interviews that are reflective of a student's wishes. Now, sometimes it cannot be done perfectly, and students are not able to get exactly what they want. But what we do is we guarantee that it'll be part of the tourism industry in one of the 5 sectors that are parts of the industry. Oh, that's a lot about that program. Let's move on to the Tourism Certificate Program. Now, the Tourism Certificate Program is a 12-week program. Again, it can be done as a co-op, in which case students do 12 weeks of coursework followed by 12 weeks of paid work experience. Same idea, we find them work in the industry. You'll notice, though, the focus of the tourism certificate is almost exclusively on the aviation industry. So there's the airline industry course. They learn Amadeus, they learn Sabre, professional selling skills, international fare structure, and so on. Students who take this program really are geared to working as a ticketing agent, as a ground agent for an airline, perhaps as a travel agent. But the focus, as I say, is the airline industry. You'll notice also that all 7 of these courses, if I just flip back, are actually part of the bigger Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma. What that means is that if you were to register in the Tourism Certificate Program and then you decided, well, geez, I actually really am enjoying this, I'd like to continue on with the Travel and Tourism Diploma, you would just seamlessly join or continue on, pardon me, with your classmates who are completing the diploma. So that's an opportunity as well. The Tourism Certificate Program typically is offered 3 times a year, September, January, and oftentimes we have an April intake. We don't often have a summer intake, but you would simply consult our admissions team to find out those specific dates. Now, the Hospitality and Resort Business Management Diploma. This diploma focuses obviously on the hospitality industry. The hospitality industry includes anything to do with customer service, essentially. So working in a restaurant, working at a hotel, working at a bed and breakfast, at a resort, on a cruise ship, at a convention center, doing event planning. It's, again, a very broad program. It allows students to have knowledge in multiple areas, just like the Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma. So that gives them more opportunities in terms of finding work, as opposed to, as I mentioned before, the Tourism Certificate Program, which is very narrowly focused. And that's fine. If a student is only wanting to work for an airline, then that's the program for them. But if you have an interest in working overall, in this case, in the hospitality industry, this kind of program is better suited for you. The courses that are included in the program, you can see typically have the word hospitality in front of them: hospitality sales and marketing, hospitality industry computers, hospitality security loss and prevention, accounting in the hospitality industry. But included in that are, HR programs like the human resources management, and then food operations courses. Again, because hospitality includes working in a restaurant, and most hotels, resorts, bed and breakfasts, cruise ships, even convention centers sometimes have restaurants. So, you can work at a hotel, but you might be managing a restaurant or working in a restaurant. You might be working at a hotel and working front desk or working housekeeping. So it's very broad reaching. In addition to those particular courses, the hospitality courses, the food services courses, you'll see convention and special events management. So there's a big discussion surrounding being able to manage events, whether it's at a convention center or at a hotel. For example, think about weddings, perhaps a bar mitzvah, an event that could be held at a hotel or even a smaller convention. Certainly, this is covered in this kind of a program. And then you'll notice in terms of the business management, there's that commonality between this program and the travel and tourism business management program. Those courses are the same as the travel and tourism business management diploma. So small business fundamentals, academic skills for business, technology, and business communications. Again, what we want our students to have the knowledge, the skills, the tools to be able to work in the hospitality industry, but adding those business management courses allows them to be more promotable so that they can move into those more supervisory or managerial positions. Similarly set up, the Hospitality and Resort Business Management Diploma, the one-year program, has a practicum at the end where we place a student for 1 month as part of their diploma program. Or if they choose, they can do the 2-year program where they do the 1 year of coursework followed by 1 year of paid work experience. Again, we would sit down with students usually about 3 months prior to the end of their coursework, ask them what their area of interest is in the hospitality industry, and try to match them up with a company that is hiring and looking for work. As I said, the co-op positions are not simply given to students, they have to earn them. And so they have to have proper resumes, cover letters, and so on. I will mention just in passing here, because I talked about it with regards to the flight attendant program, the instructors that teach both the travel and tourism programs and the hospitality and resort programs, they are all industry experts. They have worked on cruise ships, as travel agents, as tour guides, in hotels, in resorts. And so they are able to really communicate the relevance of the courses that they're teaching. And they're also able to pass along their own life experiences and how these courses can be used in the real world. What we pride ourselves in here at CTC is teaching students practical skills. This is not book knowledge. This is not theory. This is practicality that students can then go out and use on a day-to-day basis. And we hear that from our graduates. We hear that what they learned here at CTC, they're actually using in their employment, which is fantastic. The hospitality certificate program, similar to the tourism certificate program, is one part of the bigger hospitality and resort business management diploma. So again, these 7 courses are part of the bigger diploma program. This focus here in the certificate program is on food operations, HR, sales and marketing, accounting. What we want students to be able to take away from with this program is oftentimes we have students come to us who have worked in the hospitality industry for 5, 10 years, but they don't have the credentials to be able to be promoted. And so they're looking for a certificate, something like this that they can complete in a relatively short period of time, go back to their employer and say, look, this is what the knowledge that I have gained. I would like to now apply for this supervisory role. So it's a great way for students to be able to move through the ranks of their experience or use their experience that they already have gained. Just like the tourism certificate program, though, if a student were to start the hospitality certificate, decide that they wanted to continue on into the diploma program, it would be a very smooth and easy transition. I do want to mention something about field trips. So, of course, during COVID, all of our programs are being taught online. Come September, as there are restrictions that are eased and we're allowed to do so, and it might not be in the fall, it might not be until January or the spring of next year, our students typically are taken on a variety of field trips. And you can see just even here, we've got 3 students that are doing basically registration at the convention center. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we're very centrally located. The convention center is just down the road. And because our teachers, our instructors are industry experts, they have connections. They have connections in the hotels, at the travel agencies, at the convention center, at the resorts. And so they're able to make contact or to make connections with their contacts and say, hey, I want to bring my class down to the convention center. I want to bring my class to the hotel, to the Loden, for example, down here. So they can get a behind the scenes look at how a hotel works, how a convention is set up. So the opportunities that our students are given, again, are really practical hands-on skills. That's what we want for them. So let's talk a little bit about admission requirements and English requirements for international students. So for our general requirements, you can see one of the following is required. So the main one is having graduated from high school. As long as you have completed high school, we would need a copy of your high school diploma. If you're an international student, that diploma would have to be translated. If you've completed more than high school, a university degree, another college diploma or degree, that would be fine. We just need to see proof of graduation. If you have not completed high school, but you've completed your GED, again, we would accept that. That would be simply required, a copy required to complete the admissions process. If you have not completed high school or your GED and you're over the age of 19, you can complete our entrance exam and with a minimum score of 65% be accepted into the program. So those are the 3 options in terms of acceptance. If English is not the first language, and more specifically, if English was not the mode of instruction for your high school, then you would be required to have an English assessment. So an IELTS, for example, or a TOEFL. There's also an English assessment that students can write either on site or online, and the score minimums are here. Pathways. I mentioned this at the very, very beginning. We have pathway agreements with 3 colleges and universities. A pathway agreement simply is this. If a student completes either the Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma plus co-op, so the 2-year program, or the Hospitality and Resort Business Management Diploma plus co-op, again, a 2-year program, if they complete those 2-year programs, they have the opportunity to transfer directly into the 3rd year of a 4-year degree program. So Capilano University, for example, which is in North Vancouver, Royal Roads University, which is on Vancouver Island, Vancouver Community College, which is just down the road here in downtown Vancouver. What that means is twofold, really. Students who really want to take their education to the next level are able to obviously make that transfer over. So they have their 2-year diploma from us, but then they're going to get a 4-year degree. Number two, it's what we call a block transfer. So that means you complete all 2 years and automatically the first 2 years of the degree program are considered complete and you're jumping into that 3rd year. So whereas a typical student would complete 4 years of study to complete their degree, our graduates complete 1 year of study with us, 1 year of work with us, and then 2 years of study. So rather than doing 4 years of study, they're only doing 3 years of study and 1 year is paid work experience. So they're gaining the experience, they're making some money, and then going back to school to finish up those 2 years at either CAPU, RRU, or VCC. The other important thing to note is that these pathways provide international students with the opportunity to gain a postgraduate work permit. So if you complete the 2-year program with us, get that work experience in that 2nd year, transfer over to one of these 3 universities, complete the bachelor's degree of your choice, hospitality or travel and tourism, then you have the opportunity to apply for a postgraduate work permit. So it's really a win-win for students in terms of furthering their education. Now, the question is, why come to Canadian Tourism College? What's so great about CTC? Well, I think the programs I've talked about speak for themselves. They are specialized. We're a niche college. We're not a huge college, but our programs are very specific and they haven't really changed in terms of their core over the years. Yes, they've been modernized. Yes, different courses have been added, but the programs themselves at their core are the same. And that is what has made us successful for the last 40 years. The courses are condensed. So rather than having, a 2-year program, we've condensed it into 1 year. Students go a full year. They start September of 2021, they complete September of 2022, and off they go into their career. I mentioned our teachers. They are industry experts. They have firsthand knowledge. They're able to impart and explain how the courses that you're taking are relevant to working in the industry. We have our work experience placement, which are the paid co-ops. And of course, our continuing education opportunities with VCC, RRU, and CAPU. Now, what are the career outcomes? There are many, and this is, not by all means, not a complete list, but you can see I've mentioned some of this already. Obviously working as a flight attendant, working at a hotel, and you can see in a variety of places, right? Conferences, facilities, food and beverage, housekeeping, event planning really could be adding in there. But working as a travel agent, as a tourism marketer, working as a tour guide, working in parks and rec, there are countless career opportunities that are made available by for students who take our programs. In terms of cost, you have to, of course, think of education as an investment in yourself. It's an investment for your future to be able to then, start a career and work through that career for the next several years, hopefully become promotable with hard work and dedication. So you have to consider that when you're thinking about the tuition that you're paying. The program costs range from $6,000 up to $25,000, depending on whether you're a domestic student or an international student. And we offer flexible payment options. So our domestic students, of course, can apply for student loans or bank loans. We will also customize payment plans for our international students as well to make things more manageable. Something that I always recommend students do is to really do the research with regards to our college. Yes, I've told you about it. I've talked about our programs, and I certainly stand behind what I'm saying with regards to CTC. But you can read online, check out our Google reviews, and you can see what students have said about our programs. It's important, I think, to hear from students and to understand what their own experiences are. But it's, you know, because we're a niche college and a specialized college, it means then that our instructors are the same. They specialize, they can spend that one-on-one time with their students as needed. We keep our class sizes small. The maximum is 36 students. So it feels more like a high school class size in a college setting. That means some better one-on-one attention from your instructor. It also means being able to collaborate with your classmates and understanding what's going on in the class overall. Now that's the end of my presentation. I want to thank you for taking the time and listening to what it is that I have to offer, or we have to offer here at CTC. If you would like some additional information, you can certainly call me or you can email me. My contact information is there. You may already be in touch with another admissions advisor. That's fine. I can certainly pass you along to them if you've lost their contact details. But you know, we're here. It's, you know, the middle of summer. September is our big intake where most of our students will start. So we're looking forward to bringing everybody back onto campus and starting the academic year off fresh. So I'll just check in the questions and answers section in the chat to see if anybody's asked questions, and then I'll read them out and answer them for everybody. Okay, so, well, I will say hi to Bekzod. Apologies for mispronouncing your name, from Uzbekistan. Here is a question from Nilab. So Nilab, I think I've probably answered the majority of your questions with regards to the program itself. The short answer for you is that most international students need to be applying for a program that's at least a year. It's very, very difficult for international students to get a visa for a program that is shorter than 1 year. With regards to a study permit, that is not possible with our flight attendant program. It's only a 3-month program. Most of our international students who take the flight attendant program, they will go back to their home country and work for their national carrier. So we've had actually quite a number of Japanese students who've done that, gone back to work for Al Nippon and JAL. We had a student about 1.5 years ago who was from Mongolia, who returned to his home country, to Mongolia, and is working for their national carrier. Most airlines will only hire their own nationals to work for the airlines. The only exception are a few Middle Eastern airlines, Qatar being one of them. I think Emirates as well. There might be a third. So it would be very, very difficult for him to get a job, Nilab. Katrina. So I think I've answered that question too. So you've asked, can you take the diploma, the flight attendant program online? The answer is no. I actually am, I shouldn't say no completely. I'm trying to see if we can have an online version as well as an in-person version. I'm not really sure that that's going to work, but there is that very small possibility. But you know, we want students to be back on campus, so it'll be done here at the college. Cameron, do you have other colleges than Vancouver? I'm not sure if you mean locations. This is our only location here in Vancouver. Benny, do you get the hours of work experience as well? I'm not sure I understand your question. We don't assist students with getting their work permits. What we do is we provide all the documentation that is required, but it's up to you to apply for your study visa and your work permit. Yeah, in terms of residency, that we absolutely do not involve ourselves with. This is from Anonymous. I'm an international student applying for tourism certificate for co-op. I was told this program is too short. This is true. Yes, you need to be applying for a one-year program. IRCC, what they want to be convinced of is that you are legitimately coming to Canada to study for a year or 2 years. 2 years is even better. And that you're not just coming to the country to then stay after you've finished your 3-month or 6-month program and not return to your home country. They want to know that you're going to be educated, that you're committing yourself long term, and then that will put you in good stead for getting a visa. We don't assist. So this is, I'm going to say Emmanuel. I can't pronounce your first name. I'm sorry. We don't assist students with the visa process. Really, what you should be doing is consulting with an immigration consultant. They will help you with that. What we provide is a letter of acceptance once we have a deposit that is paid. The 2-year programs for international students are somewhere in the neighborhood of $23,000 to $25,000. Hannah, yes, I think I already answered your question about whether or not we're going to have the online flight attendant program. I really am working on it. I'm trying to convince the powers that be that there's a demand for it. We've had so much success with having it online during COVID. So I'm working on it. And Hannah, I believe, I'm going to write this down, but I believe I have your name on a list of people interested. And where are you? Katrina, you asked about online as well, so I will make sure that your name is on that list. Okay, sorry, I'm not keeping up with the questions. Pamela, can you take the travel agent course online? So I haven't talked about the travel agent course or the event and meeting planning course. It is purely online. It is a self-paced, self-directed program. There is no instructor, although you have access to an instructor if you have questions, but it is completely self-paced. The travel agent course consists of program consists of 16 courses that you must complete in 1 year. If you'd like more information, certainly contact me and I'm happy to tell you more. Ashlyn, after graduation, are the graduates able to use the administrators as references? I'm not sure what you mean by administrators. If you're talking about your instructor, you absolutely could. I wouldn't suggest that you'd want to use, for example, me as a reference, because I wouldn't know my students well enough to be able to make that determination. Hannah, do we have housing or dorms? We do not. I do send students a list. I've got a list of, or a series of links in an email that generally students are able to use to find housing. We do have a collaboration with 2 student housing companies. One is called GEC, the other one is called Casa Vancouver. You could probably look those up yourself. But I'm happy to send you that link if you decide you want to come to Vancouver, Hannah. Taylor, hi there, I'm from Ontario, so I was wondering if OSAP funding would fund my studies here, or what are funding possibilities? The short answer is yes. We have students from Ontario. I was just doing an OSAP confirmation of enrollment this morning. The only thing with OSAP is that OSAP is brutal. They don't fund as much as, for example, Alberta. BC's pretty good. Saskatchewan and Manitoba are okay, but OSAP they don't cover the total amount. So you have to keep that in mind and be prepared to pay the shortfall yourself. Ashlyn, what are the college's preferred payments plan for acceptance? So if you decide that you're going to pay the tuition on your own rather than a student loan, or a combination of those two, if your student loan doesn't cover your full tuition, certainly in BC, the maximum you can get, for example, for a 3-month program is $4,160. So that means that for a 3-year program, that might be about $6,000 or $7,000. You have to cover the difference. But if you're paying on your own, we can set up a payment plan based on the number of months that a student's program is. So if it's a 3-month program, we would split the payments into 3 payments. If it were a year-long program, well, maybe not quite a year, we would set payments up for 10 payments or 3 or 4 sort of bigger payments. I work with students to set that up. Emmanuel, the deposit is typically 25% of the program. So it's around $5,000 Canadian is the deposit, give or take. Zahra, no, there is no age limit for registration. Katrina, you're welcome. Laxit, do you provide accommodation and food? We do not. I think I mentioned before, we don't have any accommodations, but if you decide you want to take the program, we do have links to a variety of homestays and places that would probably suit your needs. Assis from Mexico, I'm so interested in your program. I would love to know all about your admissions for international students. Well, I can certainly have your someone from our international team give you a call, or maybe not give you a call, but certainly email you or WhatsApp you. So I'm just going to write down your name. I hope you're in our system. Emmanuel, as an international student, how can I get a loan? You cannot get a loan from any Canadian government, any provincial government. You have to be a citizen or a permanent resident here. So unfortunately, you're not eligible for a loan as an international student. Anonymous, you're a domestic student applying for flight attendant program. English is not my first language. Do I still need to take the English exam? It depends where you completed your high school. If you completed your high school in an English speaking environment, so for example, in the Philippines, it's in English, then you would not have to complete the English exam. If that's not the case, then you would. But you could easily complete the online English exam. It's on our website. It'd be super easy for you to do. Ashlyn, would you be able to put me on the list for information about the online, if there will be one? Ashlyn, I can do that. Ashlyn, can you provide me with your last name? I'm sure there are more than one Ashlyn. I think that's it on this side. I am going to go to the chat now because I think I missed a whole bunch of questions here. Let me back up here. Student housing, is it cheaper? I'm not sure what you mean, Caitlin. Cheaper than what? We don't have any proper student housing, as I mentioned, but excuse me, I do provide students with an email that has a series of links that could help you find a place. Edward, what are the dates you registered for the program? If you're wanting to apply for a program for September, now's the time right now. This is our busiest time. I've registered 8 students in the last 2 days alone. So it's coming fast and that's just me. You know, the rest of our admissions team is doing the same thing. So if you're wanting to apply for September, now's the time. I can't see the full name here. Mar, I'm considering taking the travel and diploma or diploma with co-op. Okay. Andrea, I'm an international student. I would like to speak to an advisor. Okay, so this is international. Andrea, can you provide me with your last name so I can find you in my system? Can I choose whether to take or not in the middle of the course? You mean to, if you're talking Mari, there we are, Mari Kamya. If you're deciding to, I think what you mean is whether or not you go from the certificate program to the diploma program. Yeah, you can decide that right in the middle of the course. I had a student do that most recently. I mean, having said that, it depends on whether or not you're an international student. If you're an international student, you're probably not going to get a visa for a 3-month program anyway. But if you're a domestic student, not a problem. James, yes, the European tour is definitely paused. It's been eliminated altogether. I doubt very highly that we're going to return to that, just given the sort of new way of travel. Unfortunately, it was a fantastic opportunity for our travel and tourism students, but that's no longer. Bella, what area of Vancouver? The college is right downtown. We're on Melville and Thurlow. I don't know who this person is, but the question is, how much is the flight attendant program? The flight attendant program is $6,352 for domestic students, and for international students, it is $7,311. Gulaziz, I have a question. I would love to be there. Own my own tourism company. Would like to have a diploma. I would like to have it with you, and I'd like to know all the process. Okay, so yes, I have your name down. I will have somebody contact you. James. Yes, I know what you, James, I understand what you meant because of the pandemic. You know, we've just rethought the whole thing, in particular in light of how travel will change, whether or not people are vaccinated or not vaccinated, whether, you know, European countries decide that they are going to accept or not accept people with or without, let's say, a vaccine passport. I mean, it's all very muddled. So we've just eliminated it altogether. Emmanuel, what documentation will be given to us for our visa process? How much can I pay for the first installment? Okay, so I think I've answered that question. It's around $5,000, $6,000. Once you've paid your deposit, provided your documents, completed your application form, you're given a letter of acceptance, and you use that letter of acceptance to start your visa process application. Hani, is one of your admission advisor called Filiberto? I contact him for flight attendant. I'm wondering, that is not the right place. There's somebody named Gabriella. I don't know who Filiberto is. Can I pay the course after a year? I'm not sure what that means. This is from the same person who asked about the course, the cost of the program. No, you have to pay at least 1/3 of the cost of the program on your first day. This is for typically a domestic student. International students are different because you have to pay a deposit even before you start the program in order to get your letter of acceptance. And then students can then pay in 3 installments for the flight attendant program. David, I'm 27. Can I take the travel and tourism diploma? You betcha. What's OSAP? OSAP is Ontario Student Aid Program or Student Assistant Program. It's for students who live in Ontario who want to apply for a student loan. Again, only for domestic students. Samson, I have questions about scholarship for international student, how work permit in Canada, who finished school in Canada. Sam, that's a bit too vague a question for me. I'm not an expert with regards to work permits and study permits. If you wish to speak with one of our international team, I'm happy to set that up for you. Okay. Maria Camilla, pardon me if I'm mispronouncing. Yes, you can absolutely. We have Japanese students who have come to Canada, taken the program, and then gone back to Japan to work for, as I said, Al Nippon and JAL. We've actually had quite a few students from Japan do that. So it's absolutely possible. I can certainly put you in touch with one of our international advisors if you'd like to know a little bit more. I'm just going to write your name down. Jane, okay, I already answered that question. Beck from Uzbekistan, I'm pretty sure I've answered your question. The cost of the program, $7,311. It's very difficult though to get a visa for a 3-month program. You need to apply for a 1-year program. Corey, yes, I can send you a link of places to stay. If I forget, Corey, just send me a text. Remind me. I'm trying to write this big list down. Tiffany, is it a must? I do TOEFL if my school's taught English, did all my national exam, and my college. I'm an international. Tiffany, where are you from? And then I can answer that question. Just type it in. I'm considering taking travel tourism diploma. Okay. So, so you're thinking that, yeah, it's The Travel and Tourism Business Management Diploma is a fantastic diploma. It doesn't matter where you live, where you're from, you can apply those skills to any country. So if you're interested in taking the 2-year program, Mari, you would gain some experience here. You go back to Japan, you'd be in very good stead going back there for work. Andrea Diosa, there we go. Okay, Andrea, you're an international student as well. I will have somebody contact you. Can I choose whether, okay, I'm not sure what you mean. Can I choose whether to take or not in the middle of a course? Maria, that's a bit confusing. Gulaziz, you're welcome. James, you're welcome. Who is this? Saeed, if a person enter Canada on ETA, is it considered domestic or international? If a domestic student is a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. If you're neither of those, then you're an international student. If you have an ETA, you're an international student. Beck, I've already answered the question about the program. James, if I started the Travel and Tourism Business Management, but decided I wanted to pursue flight attendant instead, do I need to retake the certification for flight attendant? I'm not sure what you mean by. So the Travel and Tourism Business Management program is a 1-year program. If you start that program and stop it, well, it wouldn't be advisable to do that because you'd be responsible for part of the tuition. I think once you're committed, you're committed. The flight attendant diploma is a 3-month program. I think, James, that you have been speaking with Gabby. I'm going to have her call you and you can ask her that question because it's a bit hard to answer via text. Tiffany, you are from Kenya. I think the short answer is yes, that you would not need an English assessment, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So again, you'd have to speak with somebody from our international team. I'll have somebody contact you. James, you're welcome. Mari, no problem. It's hard when you're texting. Can I change the course from diploma to, I see. Yes, you can do that. If you decided, you would have to decide probably within the first 3 or 4 months if you decided that you wanted to take the co-op as well. The interesting part though would be how you got into the country, right? If you got your visa and it's your study permit allows you just to do the 1-year program, that might be a bit tricky to gain the visa to do the co-op as well. Although, yeah, I think it would be possible, but I'm going to have somebody contact you anyway, just to be sure. Are airlines hiring right now for flight attendants? Yes, they are. They're not hiring quite as much as they were before, but it's just increasing more and more. In fact, we know there are 3 of our former students who just got hired on with Flair Air here. So I can only speak for in Canada, but yes. Tiffany, you're welcome. Now, I think there are a few other questions in the Q&A. No, I think everybody. Okay, so ABOH. I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to have hopefully everybody contacted. Maybe screenshot my contact information here in case somebody doesn't get back to you, and then you can contact me and I can make sure that someone responds to you. Oh, there's one more question in the chat. Holy Hannah. That's a big long one, Saeed. Okay, let's see. I have 2 questions about UK citizens. If a student from the UK wants to study a postgraduate and work at the same time, how would he go about doing so? If a graduate student wants to come to Ontario with a UK degree in a relevant role, how would they do that? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not an international expert in terms of immigration and working. What I would suggest is check out the IRCC website, which is Immigration and Refugee, forgot what the other C is, Canada, IRCC, and you might be able to get some answers there. I'm sorry. Okay, I think we're done here. It's time for lunch. Oh, Taylor, do you assist students to help them find jobs after? We don't do a direct assistance. We have a job posting section on our website that is accessible only to graduates. In all of the programs, the instructors help students create resumes and cover letters, and of course, give guidance with regards to job opportunities. Yeah. Okay. I thank you very much for your time today. I hope that I was able to answer as many questions as possible for you and that you found it informative. As I said, please feel free to reach out to me should you need to, and I would be happy to assist you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.